Hello students, how are you? I hope you all are fit and fine. So dear students, as you all know that we are reading chapter 2, The Tiger King, written by Kalki R. Krishnamurti. We will be continuing with the same chapter in this video, and this is going to be the last video of this lesson. Before moving ahead, let us discuss what we have read in this lesson. As of now, we have seen in this story that it is about a king who was famous as the Tiger King, who was known as Tiger King. When he was born, the astrologers predicted that one day he would be killed by the tiger. Later, when he grew up, he became a king at the age of 20. He decided to kill all the tigers. He banned tiger hunting by any other person in his state. There were 70 tigers in Pratibandhapuram. He killed all the tigers. He had to kill 100 tigers according to astrologers' prediction. And he was also, warned by the astrologer he need to be very careful while killing the 100th tiger. In order to kill 30 more tigers, he got married a girl from different states royal family. And whenever he used to visit his father-in-law's state, he used to kill 3 or 4 tigers. So thus he was able to kill 99 tigers. He was just one tiger away from his goal, as he had to kill 100 tigers according to the astrologers. So let's see what happened next. Was he able to kill 100 tigers? So let us go through the remaining part of the story and come to know. So today we are going to read page number 15, 16 and 17. So everyone open your book at page number 15. Let us begin. The Diwan went home convinced that if the Maharaja did not find the tiger soon, the result could be catastrophic. He felt life returning to him only when he saw the tiger which had been brought from the People's Park in Madras and kept hidden in his house. So the Diwan was very tensed. He convinced that extremely disastrous situation was going to happen if the king would not find the 100th tiger. Catastrophic means extremely disastrous. Catastrophic means extremely disastrous. Sorry, it is disastrous. Okay. Catastrophic means extremely disastrous, destructive. The Diwan went home convinced that if the Maharaja did not find the tigers soon, the results could be catastrophic. The result was going to be very, disastrous. He felt life returning to him only when he saw the tiger which had been brought from the People's Park in Madras, which is now Chennai, and kept hidden in his house. So as he brought one tiger from People's Park in Madras and kept it hidden in his house. So after seeing the tiger, he took a sigh of relief. At midnight, when the town slept in peace, the Diwan and his aged wife dragged the tiger to the car and showed it into the seat. So during midnight, the Diwan as well as his wife took the tiger to the car. They dragged the tiger to the car and shoved. Shoved means pushed roughly. Shoved. Okay, and pushed. The tiger was pushed roughly to the car. The Diwan himself drove the car straight to the forest where the Maharaja was hunting. So Diwan took the car where the Maharaja was hunting. The tiger was in the car. So this tiger was brought from People's Park in Madras, which is now Chennai, as they did not get the last tiger which the Maharaja had to kill. That is why it was the plan for it was planned by Diwan to bring one tiger from People's Park in Madras. That is why a tiger was brought. It was kept hidden in Diwan's room. Later, during midnight, Diwan as well as his wife, they took the tiger where Maharaja, was waiting for the tiger to hunt. Secretly, they left the tiger. So when they reached the forest, the tiger launched his satyagraha and refused to get out of the car. So when they reached the forest, the tiger denied to come out of the car. The Diwan was thoroughly exhausted in his efforts to haul the beast out of the car and push it down to the ground. So he was completely exhausted, tired in pushing out the tiger from the car. He could not easily draw the tiger out of the car. On the following day, the same old tiger wandered into the Maharaja's presence and stood as if in humble supplication. So the next day, the same tiger was standing in Maharaja's presence, and it was standing, in a humble position, as if in humble supplication. Supplication means, act for, appeal for something. Supplication. Act of appeal for something. Okay, so as the tiger was appealing for something, he was standing in front. The way he was standing in front of the king. Master, what do you command of me? As if the tiger, here writer once again made a funny remark and humorous remark, saying that the tiger was standing in front of the Maharaja as if he wanted to take the order from Maharaja, as if he wanted to say that, what do you command of me? It was with boundless joy that the Maharaja took careful aim at the beast. So for Maharaja, it was the happiest moment which he was waiting for. He aimed at the tiger, he aimed at the beast. The tiger fell in crumpled heap. So the tiger collapsed on the ground. Crumpled means collapsed on the ground. Crumpled, collapsed on the ground. So the beast collapsed on the ground. So thus, dear students, Maharaja finally was able to kill the 100th tiger. On the following day, the same old tiger wondered, I have killed the 100th tiger, my vow has been fulfilled. Maharaja said that he had killed the 100th tiger, he was able to kill the 100th tiger and he was able to fulfill his vow. The Maharaja was overcome with elation. Elation means joy. Maharaja overcame with joy. He was very happy as he had killed the 100th tiger. Ordering the tiger to be brought to the capital in grand procession. So he had ordered that the tiger, the last dead body of the last beast, must be taken to the palace in a great procession. The Maharaja hastened away in his car. Maharaja left in his car. After the Maharaja left, the hunters went to take a closer look at the tiger. So after the Maharaja had left, the hunters, they went to the tiger to take a closer look. The tiger looked back at them, rolling its eyes in bafflement. So the tiger did not die, it was rolling its eyes in confusion. So the tiger was alive. Somehow the king missed his mark. The men realized that the tiger was not dead. The bullet had missed it. It had fainted from the shock of the bullet whizzing past. The tiger was fainted because of the sound of the bullet which was passing past. The hunters wondered what they should do. So at this, the hunters, they started thinking what they should do. They decided that the Maharaja must not come to know that he had missed his target, as everyone was in a great fear of losing their jobs. So that is why they had decided not to let Maharaja know that the tiger was found alive, that the Maharaja's bullet missed its mark. No one wanted it to let Maharaja know about it. If he did, they could lose their jobs. If they if they told the Maharaja about this, so they might have lost their jobs. One of the hunters took aim from a distance of 1 foot and shot the tiger. So one of the hunters took a distance of 1 foot and shot the tiger. This time he killed it without missing his mark. And now the tiger was finally killed. But the 100th tiger, dear students, here, it was not killed by the Maharaja. When Maharaja shot at the tiger, Maharaja's bullet missed its mark. And later the tiger was killed by the hunters. Then, as commanded by the king, the dead tiger was taken in procession through the town and buried. So as it was the order of the Maharaja, so the dead tiger was taken in great procession through the town and buried. And the dead body of the tiger was buried. A tomb was erected over it. A tomb was also erected over it to make it memorable, as it was the 100th tiger which was killed by Maharaja according to the Maharaja, but actually it was not killed by the Maharaja, it was killed by one of the hunters. A few days later, the Maharaja's son's 3rd birthday was celebrated. After a few days, it was the birthday of Maharaja's third birthday of Maharaja's son. Until then, the Maharaja had given his entire mind over the tiger hunting. So before that day, Maharaja could not pay any attention towards his family and people of the state. So as now he had killed the 100th tiger, now he had enough time to spend with the family. He did not have anything to do. That is why he decided to celebrate the third birthday of his son with great pomp and show. But now the king turned his attention to the child. He wished to give him some special gift on his birthday. So Maharaja wanted to give some special gift on the third birthday of his son. He went to the shopping center in Pratibandhapuram and searched every shop but couldn't find anything suitable. He went to the shopping center in Pratibandhapuram and searched every shop, but he could not find anything suitable which could be gifted to his son. Finally, he spotted a wooden tiger in a toy shop and decided it was the perfect gift. So finally, he saw a wooden tiger in the toy shop and decided to gift it to his son. Finally, he decided to gift that wooden tiger to his son. The wooden tiger cost only 2 annas and a quarter. That wooden tiger cost only 2 annas and a quarter, but the shopkeeper knew that if he quoted such a low price to the Maharaja, he would be punished under the rules of the emergency. But the tiger, the wooden tiger cost only 2 annas and a quarter, but the shopkeeper thought that if he would tell the Maharaja, if he would quote the Maharaja such a low price, then he might be punished under the rules of emergency. So he said, "Your Majesty, this is an extremely rare example of craftsmanship." So the shopkeeper said that it was the fine example, if it was an extremely rare example of craftsmanship. A bargain at 300 rupees, and he told Maharaja that it cost 300 rupees. Very good. Let this be your offering to the crown prince on his birthday. So Maharaja said, let it be offering to the crown prince from your side. Said the king, and took it away with him. And he took that toy tiger, wooden tiger. On that day, father and son played with that tiny little wooden tiger. So that day, father as well as the son, they played with the tiny wooden tiger. It had been carved by an unskilled carpenter. So that tiger was designed, carved means designed. So it was carved by an unskilled carpenter. Its surface was rough. Tiny slivers of wood stood up like quills all over it. Its surface was rough. Tiny slivers. Slivers means thin pieces. Slivers. Slivers means thin pieces. Okay, so its slivers of wood stood up like quills all over. So they were like quills, those thin pieces were standing over it. One of those slivers pierced the Maharaja's right hand, and one of those spears, the one of those thin piece of that wood pierced in Maharaja's right hand. He pulled it out with his left hand and continued to play with the prince. So Maharaja pulled it out with his left hand and he continued playing with his son. The next day, infection flared in the Maharaja's right hand. In the next day, the infection increased. Flare means spread or increase. Flared. Spread or increased. The next day, the infection flared, the infection increased, spread in the Maharaja's right hand, and in 4 days it developed into a suppurating sore. Suppurating means undergo the formation of pus. Okay, suppurating. Suppurating, undergo the formation of pus. Okay, so what happened? It formed pus. Wound, sore means wound. Sore, S-O-R-E, means wound. So it formed pus, wound, pus in the wound, in the injury, which spread all over the arm, and this pus spread all over his arm. 3 famous surgeons were brought in from Madras. So from Chennai, 3 famous surgeons were brought in. After holding a consultation, they decided to operate. So after holding a discussion, they decided to operate the Maharaja. The operation took place and the operation was done. The 3 surgeons who performed it came out of the theatre and announced. So those 3 surgeons who performed the operation, they came out of operation theatre and they announced the operation was successful, the Maharaja is dead. So once again here the writer has used the funny remark in order to make it humorous. So he said that 3 surgeons said that the operation was successful and the Maharaja is dead. In this manner, the 100th tiger took its final revenge upon the Tiger King. So this way, dear students, as it was foretold by the astrologers, the Maharaja was killed by the tiger, even if it was a wooden tiger, but it was the tiger. So dear students, this story tells us 2 things. First, the attitude of human beings towards animals, how in order to fulfill our pursuits, we human beings are killing the animals for nothing. As in the story, the Tiger King killed 100 tigers, even though at the end of the story he was killed by the wooden tiger. So he killed 100 tigers, but it was for nothing. It was useless. It was useless for him to hunt 100 tigers. Later, he postponed all the works, all the other matters. He only focused towards his, he only focused to fulfill his own pursuits. As this story, whether it has been written in humorous way by R. Krishnamurti, but it's a comment on those people who are in power, who are misusing their power, and the attitude of human beings towards animals. Now let us discuss questions and their answers which are given at the end of the story. The story is a satire on the conceit of those in power. Conceit means excessive pride on themselves. Excessive pride on themselves. Okay. So the story is a satire on the conceit of those in power. How does the author employ the literary device of dramatic irony in the story? So how did the writer deploy the dramatic irony in the story? In the beginning of the story, we have seen that the tiger, in childhood, he announced he warned the tigers. Later, when he became the king, there are two examples can be given to prove that the writer has used dramatic irony in the story. First one, the king was powerful. He killed 100 tigers. Even though he was killed by the wooden tiger, he could not save himself from death. So finally he was killed by a wooden tiger, even though he had killed the 100 tigers. So it shows that it's a dramatic irony in the story. As the king was very powerful, he killed the 100 tigers, even though he was killed by the wooden tiger. Second thing, a high ranking British officer, he came to the king and he expressed his desire for hunting the tigers, even though he just wanted to get photographed with the tiger, but he was not allowed. Later, in order to make him happy, the Maharaja sent 50 diamond rings to his wife, and when she kept all the ring, then the high ranking officer did nothing. So it also shows that the high ranking officer was powerful. He was not allowed to hunt the tiger, but he was satisfied with the rings which his wife kept. So these two situations here proved that the writer has used the dramatic irony in this story. Okay, so both people are being powerful, they could not do anything. Now let us discuss the next question. Why is the author's indirect comment on subjecting innocent animals to willfulness of human beings? So what is the author's indirect comment? So in the whole story we have seen the Maharaja, first he said even killing a cow in self-defense is not a crime. Considering so, he decided to kill 100 tigers, and thus he killed 70 tigers from his state, 30 more from the states who from that state where he got married with a girl of royal family. So thus he killed 100 tigers even though he could not avoid his death. So thus we as a human being consider ourselves very powerful, and we have the human beings have cruel attitudes towards animals. In order to fulfill our own pursuit, they are ready to kill them. We are ready to kill them. Okay, so these things shows that the author wants to make an indirect comment on subjecting innocent animals to the willfulness of human beings. So other questions will be discussed in online classes, dear students. It's all about this video. In my next video, I'll start the next lesson, a new lesson. So thank you, dear students, for watching this video. Keep writing answers to all the questions in your notebook. If any doubt, you can ask me in online classes. Okay, so thank you for watching. See you tomorrow.